All right, guys, who needs to be great in 2022 for Aggie football to take it to the next level? What does that next level mean? Well, it means more than the Orange Bowl. As much as I love being in a New Year's Six Bowl, and I think that is what they'll be able to do at least next season, what do they have to do to be invited to the playoffs next year? Who has to be that elite player? Comment below. Tell us what you're thinking here on TexAgs Rewind, which is presented by T-Mobile. They want you to visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to learn how you can get value and coverage through T-Mobile. So on the show, we talked about that topic. That was part of the Go Hour. Good stuff as always there. We also talked a little Ole Miss as I'm continuing the dialogue of all the opponents A&M is going to face in 2022. Brad Logan came on the show to talk about that. He also gave us his thoughts on Ole Miss, Texas A&M baseball this upcoming weekend. A huge series, A&M trying to win the SEC West. Ole Miss is hot, hot, hot. We had Logan Lee in studio to talk about the latest addition to the basketball team, and they are getting loaded. 4 transfers this offseason. Dexter Dennis, the latest one from Wichita State. We talked about that one. And we also had, TexAgs Idol. If you don't know about TexAgs Idol, it's your chance to be on the fan show. You try out on Tuesdays. We had 3 contestants today. We had 1 winner. It was worth the wait. We'll talk about that, the winner, after you watch this awesome video. Comment below, though. Go. Which players need to be great for the Aggie football team to reach the next level? And the next level to me, I guess, if you look at, the next level is championship. But let's just say playoff and beyond.
Playoffs and beyond.
Yeah. I think the answer is quarterback.
Well, yeah, you need your quarterbacks to be great. Maybe. Stetson Bennett wasn't great.
But he was great when they needed him to be great in the championship game.
Okay.
Or good enough?
Good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be a liability at quarterback,
right.
But if you got a great running back, I mean, remember when Ohio State won the national championship a few years ago and they went through 3 quarterbacks and they were down to Cardale Jones? You know why they won that?
Why's that?
Ezekiel Elliott and defense.
Yeah.
So
if A-Chain is great.
Great.
And great, what is great, 1,700 yards?
At least.
Okay. If he's great, they reach their next level. I mean, of course, there's other parameters. He can be great, and he's the only guy touching the ball. But he's got to be great. Defense as a group needs to be outstanding.
Yeah. See, I think give me a defensive end maybe it's Tunisia Delia needs to be great.
Who nobody's talking about outside of College Station.
Because they don't know about him. He's a redshirt freshman, 5-star guy. But, you look at A&M's defense, the secondary, I think, will be as good as it's ever been since the Ray Mickens, Aaron Glenn days.
Yep.
The linebackers, there's some question there, but we saw some really good things from Edgerrin Cooper. So there's some questions there. But my feeling is you can get by with competent linebackers if you're good in the secondary and you're good up front. I have no doubt about the tackles. I got McKinley Jackson and Isaiah Rakes and Shamar Turner and maybe and there's some other guys as well as Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
If I want to play him inside. But am I going to be able to mount a vicious pass rush? And if I am, that's going to maybe fall on Fidel Diggs and Tunisia Delia, as well as some of the freshmen. I don't think you ever want to have to go all in and say, man, this freshman guy is going to, I'm counting so much on a freshman to make the difference.
See, I look at the defense.
Even though Myles Garrett did.
Yes, you need some alphas out there, some stars, right? But to me, it's a collective unit. And offense, you get 1 or 2 superstars out there, it can make all the difference. Yes, you need the offensive line to gel. But if A-Chain reaches the levels that we think he can with pretty darn good quarterback play, not necessarily elite like, Heisman elite, but pretty darn good quarterback play, now we're talking that elite level.
Yeah, and what if you get a great year from A-Chain and Stewart turns out to be that kind of guy and you get great quarterback play?
Oh, and I think Aniyah Smith will have a better year than he had last year.
See, Aniyah is one of those guys we've come to he's so consistently good, we just forget him, which is ridiculous. But A&M has an awful lot of pieces. They just got to put them together. And Evan Stewart's a big part of that, a big piece of that puzzle. And then, but I think most people from the outside looking in say, A&M's just never had great quarterback play since Johnny Manziel and They have to have elite quarterback play to win. And there may be some truth to that. But
Very first question we ask is, what is on your mind this morning?
Well, I think on my mind is if you look at our last three or our most recent football, basketball, and baseball coaches on the men's side, they all share something that I think people might be overlooking a little bit, but it sticks out to me. They're all culture builders. And by culture builders, I mean they look to build a culture within their team before they look for wins and losses. And I think that's really important for Aggies because we are a university built on culture, right? I mean, that's what we do as a university. And I think that culture is resonating really well with fans. And so really excited to see where those three take their programs because it's obvious that what they're doing resonates really well with the people that are attending the games. So really excited about all three of those guys and excited to see what they build and honestly excited to see the product they're turning out, not only in a wins and losses format, but also in a young men format. You can see the growth of young men in their program.
Hey, so Lee, what is on your mind this AM?
All right, so my hot take this day, we're talking all things hot. Football games should not be started until after the sun goes down. Look, here's the thing. I'm a big guy. I sweat a lot. I like to enjoy the game as best I can. 11 a.m. football games should be outlawed because there's one, it's hot as hell. Two, doesn't give me enough time to tailgate with my buddies. Now, here's the thing. I can wake up at 6 a.m. and start tailgating, but I'm built different than most of my friends.
This is the last one that all of you are getting. What players have to be great for A&M football to reach the next level?
I believe there's 4 players. First one is Bryce Foster on offense, because in the past, A&M has shown that they've had great teams when they've had a solid center at quarterback, solid center. You had McCoy, you had Lewis on the 12 team, and then McCoy on the 18, 19 team. And then you have Shamar Turner. He needs to step up and be the leader on the defensive line. He's been here. He's a 5-star. And I think he'll step into the Marvin Leal shoes. And the third one is Edrin Cooper, because the middle linebacker is the key to a defense. He needs to set the calls and make everybody. Because if he does well, then everybody else is going to play well. And then the fourth one, I think, is Bryce Anderson. If he can maintain that starting position in that back safety, then we don't have to move Antonio Johnson from the nickel back. And then I think that'll help the defense a whole.
Obi?
Tough. I really like the personality of Lee Cross. I think all these guys eventually have to be on the show because they're that good. I don't know who you're going to pick first. I really was impressed with the Randy's breakdown of the final question.
Yep.
But I think Lee Cruz was good in everything.
Lee Cruz was good in everything. I think you said it best, though. All three of these guys have a chance to be on the show at some point this summer.
Should be.
Yeah. All right, so just 11 starters are back. Why are people so high on Ole Miss this year? Is it because of Lane? Is it because of what they think the transfers are going to bring to the table?
I think one thing is the Ole Miss returns all 5 of its starting offensive linemen. They get a big-time transfer out of Western Kentucky, Mason Brooks. So the offensive line is going to be a bookend tackle, by the way. They're going to move Nick Broker, who was an all-conference selection at left tackle, down to left guard because he projects in the NFL there. Not to mention you get Mason Brooks in as well. So a very talented offensive line. You've got a running back stable that, oddly enough, Ole Miss lost 85% of its offense, but yet could be better. I know that's crazy at running back. You lose Jerrion Ely, Snoop Connor, Henry Parrish transfers to Miami, but all of a sudden you get a former 5-star in Zach Evans transferred in from TCU. You get a Ulysses Bentley, a transfer from SMU, and not to mention you've got Kentrell Bullock, who really didn't have a chance to play much last year because of the talent in front of him. So the running back room, quite honestly, could be better than last year. The problem, I think, to be honest with you, is going to be the wide receiving core. They had a lot of injuries last year. You lose a guy like Dontario Drummond, who was drafted. You lose a burner, a couple of burners on the outside. They go undrafted. One of them, Braylon Sanders, gets signed up for a free agent contract. So they've got some questions at wide receiver. Some younger players have not stepped up, to be honest with you. They do get a couple of transfers here and there they're working on. They're working on a transfer out of LSU at Deion Smith, the Jackson, Mississippi product, who's currently in the portal. All signs point to him coming to Ole Miss. That hasn't happened as of late. So wide receiver is a question mark, but honestly, the rest of the room, along with tight end Michael Trigg Jr., who is just a beast at tight end, the transfer from USC, he'll get a lot of looks tight end along with Casey Kelly. So everybody looks pretty good across that offensive front, across that offensive lineup, with the exception of the wide receivers right now.
So, look, I love Lane. I think he's funny, and I like what he brings to the table. I didn't like him going after Jimbo the way he did, but when you see the little rivalry that is developed between those two, I think it's good for college football, but I also know that I don't think they take it personally when they go after each other, do they?
I don't think they do, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit if Jimbo and Lane did some ribbing text message-wise after each of them went after each other. I mean, all that does is create buzz for the program. And whether or not Jimbo believes that the NIL works or doesn't work, or whether or not Jimbo believes particular scholarships or NCAA, honestly, guys, I don't think it matters. What it does is puts a spotlight on your program. So recruits see that. Recruits see how many players from A&M and Ole Miss are drafted. Recruits see how much a positive things are going on around your program, whether it be social media-wise, whether it be on the radio, whether it be on the television. So I think it's brilliant on both parts. Now, I don't think they take it personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's great for both programs to keep the programs in the spotlight. And Jimbo does a fantastic job of saying just the right things to trigger people. Lane does too. Lane ribs Nick Saban a lot. He ribs other coaches a lot, and I think that's why he keeps things fresh, I guess you could say. And so many recruits come into campus, and there's Aston Martins, there's Ferraris, and there's all that stuff. There's, transfer to the SIP. There's party in the SIP, whatever all that means. The recruits love it. The recruits that are on campus love it, and that's why Ole Miss has done so well recruiting as of late, whether it be from the portal or whether it be from the high school ranks.
Is it like 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row? We're like, hey, so tell us about the newest edition. Anybody else coming? Tell us about the newest edition. Oh, we got 2 this week. All right, we got another one. This one came, I think, Friday afternoon after I did the show. Dexter Dennis from Wichita State. Tell me about him.
He was the one that I believe one of the last questions you asked was, can they even take any more? Yeah. And I said possibly one. And the reason I didn't say anything is because there were some things in the works, and I even think I mentioned it was supposed to happen the Saturday before. It didn't, so I wasn't sure where everything had kind of played out, how it was all going to end up. A&M got him.
Yeah.
And that is, I think this is a really big pickup.
So explain why this is a big pickup, because looking at the stat line, it's nice, but why is this a big pickup?
Because, one, it's experience. 2, it is a guy who is 6'5", he's physical, he is a defensive-minded presence. But if you look at his highlights and the games that he has played, he is an explosive athlete. If you get him out in open space, he's going to finish above the rim.
Is it like a Q feel to him there?
Yes, kind of. I think Q, and I know Q is way more offensively talented. Mm-hmm. You could put Q in the half court and let him go get a bucket, and he's going to go get a bucket. I think Dexter Dennis, the way he scores in transition is he runs so hard, and because he gets in the passing lane and steals, there are a lot of open breaks for him. Mm-hmm. If you put him in the half court and he gets an open lane, he's going to finish with authority above the rim. But he just, I think his intensity, his tenacity, and then his physical presence, him being 6'5", having a great frame on him, it's just a player that Buzz has been looking for and wants to continue to add each and every year to the roster.
Yeah.
It's just a good starting point.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So I see he's a defender. I see Anderson Garcia also a defender. Are they similar types of players? How do they work together?
I think Buzz finds a way to make everybody work together.
Mm-hmm.
The length, the athleticism. I think Anderson Garcia, when he committed, when it became announced that he was going to be on the roster, one of the things that we talked about was he doesn't have a great offensive output just yet. He's a guy that has come from the Dominican Republic, who isn't necessarily accustomed. I mean, he's been in the United States for a while, but he isn't that accustomed to how the U.S. plays because he's been thrown into that defensive role. Here's your role. Play your role. When you put him with this A&M roster, you can expand his role. You give him an offseason, you can continue to expand that role. And so his offensive skill set is going to increase. Dexter Dennis, I think he has more ability, more offensive ability out there. But you add that length, you add that physicality to a Manny, to a Boots, to a Wade Taylor, and then you have Henry Coleman and Julius Marble in the paint, and all of a sudden this becomes a big team. Whereas last season they were a small team. Right. They relied on their speed. Now you have that same athleticism with 3, 4, 5, 6 inches added to each position.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, so what do you think about the 3 people who participated? The winner, though, was PG Ag and King Oaks, better known as Lee Cruz. So way to go, Lee. Congratulations on winning there. Appreciate all the time and stuff. All right, guys, what do you think about it? Comment below. We will see you guys next week, or tomorrow, I should say. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Tell your uncle about it right now. It's TexAgs Rewind.